a few seconds early so that we can all take part in the act of remembrance for 11 o'clock. I will just read a prayer. If we suddenly get to the 11 o'clock, then I will go silent, as everyone here at Wimbledon Church will also go silent. And I hope that those of you that join us, that are our congregation, but are coming from home, will also join us in that 2 minutes of remembrance this morning. Our medium here joining me is our own Phil Shaw, and we have Shirley who will be reading her special prayer. But we have about 20 seconds before we go into the silence. The mighty and eternal God, from whose love in Christ we cannot be parted, either by death or life, hear our prayers and thanksgiving for all who we remember this day. Fulfill in them the purpose of your love. They shall not grow old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, or the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow we gave our today. And we welcome all of those online that have joined us from this country, from all over the world, and our own congregation. It's a very special remembrance time. Not only is it anniversaries of people that we remember in the war, and I have the little medals here for my great uncle Jack, who I was named after, and every year I say to the family that his name is on the memorial at Malden by the tube station, and also Ray's great uncle Richard, who also did not make it home from the First World War. If my great uncle had not sent my 14-year-old granddad back from the front, how he managed to get there, who knows, but his older brother got him sent back home. Otherwise I would probably not exist, and the family tree would not exist. But we have a wonderful memorial of photographs and crosses and memories that we all share, which is the foot of the altar. So unfortunately, if you're coming on from remotely, then you won't be able to see them. But hopefully you will have our poppy display behind me, which I created to remind us of a poppy field. We have our wonderful Shirley who's going to read her special poem that she wrote now some years ago. We have the reading and the address from Phil. But what I want to do is just read you another prayer for remembrance, and I have a list of names. When we had our friendship club on Wednesday, I asked our group, our friendship group here, for names of people that were special, people that not necessarily that had given their life in the First and Second World Wars and all the other wars, but those that had played their part. And we have a nice list that we can actually remember ourselves. And hopefully tomorrow I'm going up to the Field of Remembrance of all the poppies, and that's at Whitehall, and very much worth going to. If you've got someone and you know the regiment, you can go there and you can place a cross or any other symbol and a poppy. This prayer is for those who have died on active service. God of truth and justice, we hold before you those men and women who have died in active service in Iraq, in Afghanistan and elsewhere. We honour their courage and cherish their memory. May we put our faith in your future, for you are the source of life and hope, now and forever. Father, you know our hearts and share our sorrows. We are hurt by our parting from those whom we loved. Whether we are angry at the loss we have sustained, whether we long for words of comfort, yet find them hard to hear, turn our grief into a living, our affection to firmer hope of our love. Lord, have mercy on all those who mourn, who feel numb and crushed, and are filled with the pain of grief. Whose strength has given us, you know all of our sighings and longings. Be near to us and teach us to fix our hopes on you. Lord, do not abandon us in our time of desolation. Keep us safe in the midst of trouble and complete your purpose for us. And as spiritualists, we still will grieve the loss of people, but we have that understanding that all the comrades are in arms. All of the soldiers come together. And I say I'm going to finish this part of the act of remembrance by remembering some of the wonderful remembrance services we've held in the last 50 years. Jimmy Collins, one of our past presidents, actually had the Air Force medal. Wally, that used to come here, he only survived because he had either a heavy cold or something and couldn't fly with his crew, and his crew were wiped out. He was here for a number of years. Freddie Reynolds, who used to be a medium here at the church and did many of our remembrance services, and Freddie was in a profession where he didn't serve as a soldier, but he kept the energy going at Battersea Power Station. Dougie King, who lost a leg in the Second World War, and he used to knock his leg sometimes for good luck, so you could tell that it had a hollow sound. We had Anthony Trevor do some of the services here. We had Albert Best one night when he gave two members of our congregation information in Morse code from somebody who'd been in the French resistance with them. We had some other names given us: Minnie Bridges, Frank Case, who was in Africa and Malta, Gerald Percy, who was in the Navy in supplies, Horace Tyler, Thomas Bligh, William Whitby, who was only 16, Horace Leaf, Leonard Dixie, whose name is on the War Memorial at Mitcham. At this very moment, there will be a parade down at Mitcham. Ben, the three Joneses brothers, Frank White, Alfred Furr, Edward Palmer, Arthur English, Tom Birch, Reg Clempson was Royal Arch Navy, age 19, Jim Anderson in the Navy, John Fish in the Army, Tom Fish in the RAF, also in the convoy to Russia. Robert Wood, a medium that was here, he was served in the Navy. Enid Twigg, Bob Witham, who served in the Navy. Leslie Dunwell, who was a Marine and was part of Operation Pedestal for being able to give supplies to Malta. And his wife Nancy, who was a Wren. Alan Wexley, Mr. Durkin, Heather von Genep, our own Bob Brunton, who was a medium here, Annette Clifton, who I believe was a Wren, William Whitby, Shirley's uncle. And think of all the other names of people that you've known, people in the family, whether they're relatives, whether they're friends, distant cousins, because this is a time of remembrance of the service. whether you feel it's patriotic or not patriotic, these individuals gave their life. They were all young and they gave their today for our tomorrow, and we recognise that, and we know that in spirit that they get together and they look to see what's happening down here. And sometimes it must make them almost cry at some of the pain that is happening now in the world, and the difficulties and the wars that are going on. Will they escalate? It almost reminds me of the 1930s again, for the different troubles, whether or not it will lead to bigger conflicts. But as spiritualists, what we need to do is send healing out where it is needed, healing to the world, that there will be disputes that will be agreed verbally. They won't need to pick up arms, that things will be sorted out. And let's hope that these war areas will soon be back in peace. Now we're going to continue with the rest of our morning service, which will still have a theme of remembrance. And I'd like now to introduce you to our medium this morning, Phil Shaw, who will come up and do the opening prayer and invocation.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see you here and in the church, and to feel the presence of those viewers online who are watching us from all parts of the world. So please join me in prayer. Great Spirit, Father, Mother God, we ask for your blessing on this demonstration, and that through the intercession of our spiritual guides, inspirers and loved ones, we may move into a greater understanding of our sole purpose and fulfill our potential. We ask, please, for healing to be given to our planet, those who are unwell in mind, body and spirit, victims of war, the marginalized, lonely, bereaved, the animal kingdom and all sentient beings. Make us strong in heart and mind to face the challenges we meet on our path of enlightenment, knowing that Spirit are with us every step of the way to guide and support our development and aspiration, and in so doing, make an even stronger connection to our inner note of truth and love. Thank you to Ray, Jackie and Ashley Robinson, and members who contribute to the welfare of Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, a sanctuary of peace and regeneration. God bless you all, and may the light of Spirit be with you always.
Thank you very much, Phil. You can feel the energy of Remembrance Day here at the church as we have those memories. Now I'd like to call up Leslie, who's going to read out the healing names, and then we have our serenity prayer, which I'm sure Richard will put on at the end of our healing moments.
Good morning, everybody. Now's the time we just spend a few moments sending out our thoughts to those that need help at this time. And I've got some names here mentioned in the church. Can I ask for Barbara, for Ben, for Shirley, Oscar, Mick, Tony and Julie, David and Jackie, Ramona Hart, Marion, Polly, Mike, Paul, two little girls that are missing, Caris and Chanel, last seen, the missing girls are Caris and Chanel, age 14, last seen getting on a bus. I do hope they've been found. I'm not updated on that. John Clifford, Malcolm Fraser and Mandy Fraser, Irene Smith, Anne Little, Reese, Mum Tao, Kathleen, Tony Robinson, Mac the Horse, Sandy MacDonald, Jane Boyson and Sheena. And if we can just spend a little moment just closing our eyes and thinking of all the people in our hearts and our loved ones that we know that we'd like to send healing to. Visualise them well, visualise them happy. Don't visualise them on beds of sickness. If I can ask you to visualise our world, our planet, with a beautiful white light of peace surrounding it. Send peace and love to our world, that wars may be a thing of the past, and on this special day we remember all those that lost their lives so that we could be here today. It would be wonderful, a world with no more war. A beautiful pure white light of healing around our world. Thank you. Do I do the Serenity Prayer? Do you do that, Jack? And can I ask you to just join with me saying the Serenity Prayer that's on, I think it's up on the screen now. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. God bless all of you.
It's been chaired for such a long time. Do we now have the plate?
Yes, not the office out.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Just take a seat here for a second, Shell. Get your second wind. Take a seat here.
No, they moved those seats. I can't sit on it.
Oh, okay. Right.
I should panic sitting
All
on it.
right. Okay. Well, I just escorted Shirley up. So we're going to have Shirley do her reading, and then we will get Richard to put his adverts on as we go round with our collection plate. The collection this morning is going to be for the British Legion, as we often have done that. And if you feel that you want to donate online, then just say, well, this is for the Royal British Legion, or you can always send us a cheque. We will be next month starting a collection for our annual crisis appeal. So please feel welcome to also, be part of that, so that we can send a nice collective, half a dozen people through that crisis experience. But please welcome our own Shirley, our own poet, Gloria, to here, and here she is.
Thank you. Right, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. I wrote this poem many, many years ago. It's entitled Flanders. The poppy fields in Flanders, where the soldiers lay, the loved one and the stranger, side by side they lay. They fought together for the good, for the world and all therein. Came the time they gave their life. They closed their eyes, the light came dim. Forever remembered in heart and mind, always remembered across the span of time. Together we link at this special time, for we have lived those tomorrows that you gave us, which you declined. We wear our poppies with pride when we remember those loved ones and the dear ones lying side by side. We remember each year those that fought. We wonder too what was taught from those strong, brave men who gave their lives, who left behind mothers, children, wives. They fought for the world, for love and peace. So what have we learned? It seems learned naught, as over the years other wars have been fought. In remembrance our poppies we wear, but all seems in vain. What have we gained? The world wars on in despair. The stranger and the loved one fight side by side. The stranger, the loved one, side by side they died. The children, our future, at the loss they have cried. Don't let our future lay broken. The stranger and the loved one lying side by side. Thank you.
Wonderful, Shirley. As poignant today as the day that you wrote it.
Yes, definitely is.
Okay, so Richard, if you'd like to go to your adverts, and I'll ask Jim to take the collection round as I escort Shirley back to her seat. Jump.
The SPTV Divine Guidance Oracle Pack, a unique blend of inspiration and artistic beauty. Our captivating set of 78 cards combines the power of ancient archetypes, celestial guidance, and the essence of life itself to provide you with a unique tool for self-discovery, clarity, and transformation, all lovingly housed within an exclusive rigid box. The pack includes a booklet that delves into every card in detail, some of which carry dual meanings for deeper interpretation. The booklet also features 8 distinctive card spread layouts. Among these treasures, you'll discover 22 major arcana, 9 main archangels, 4 elements, and 40 life cards, each a work of art, radiating beauty and delivering profound messages that resonate deeply within your being. The SPTV Divine Guidance Pack, where beauty meets enlightenment. Pre-order today and unlock the extraordinary wisdom that awaits you. To be among the pioneers in experiencing our forthcoming collection and to reserve your pack in advance, as well as to access more details, including a sample audio description, kindly visit sptv.uk/cards.
Are you planning a paid spiritual event, or looking for something to do this weekend? Then visit myspiritualevents.com. You can browse the listing, view the event details, watch a YouTube clip, look at a mini gallery, select dates and times, pay for tickets using PayPal or your debit card. Organizers can register for free and start selling tickets within minutes, be it for their online or in-person spiritual event. As an organizer, you will have access to your own admin dashboard, which will display information such as your income and your bookings, all in a simple and user-friendly display. It's free to use. Join and upgrade to an organizer. Come and visit us at myspiritualevents.com.
Tomorrow morning from 11 a.m., our magazine show Brighten Your Day offers readings, guests, gossip and more. Start your day with SPTV. Tomorrow night from 8 p.m., join Claire Pasterfield for her own show. Claire will be offering free readings and advice via Facebook and YouTube.
And welcome everyone back, and we've seen a few names. It's nice to know that Julie is watching and hopefully enjoying the service. It is lovely when we know that our congregation is out there. Nolene Parker is saying wonderful address. Thank you. We haven't even started the main one yet, but loving all the poppies in the church from Kerry Setchell. But our act of remembrance, I'm sure, is what the lady and Diana is saying. Good evening to everybody from Australia with love. And hopefully there's the old Anzac, very important part of the contingent, the Australians and New Zealanders that fought. Natalie Mitchell, we'll say hello to. Thank you for being part of our service today. Rosalind Crump, Grand Rising. And Joe. So morning all from Joe. You are an important part of our service, Wendy Cleaton, knowing that we can stretch out to those that are unable to make it, whether or not you're too far from a church. And Teresa up in Bedfordshire, so it's nice, Teresa, that you're part of this service, and there is a lovely feeling here this morning. Carolyn Wade said, first time watching. I hope that it won't be your last time that you see, but remembrance is a very important part here. And Christina Davis, hope you're feeling better. May they be forever in our thoughts and hearts. Absolutely. Most certainly they are. And Natalie Welsh, good morning everyone. So nice, Natalie, that you joined us this morning. And Jen Abston, good morning from Kentucky. Nice to have people from across the pond. And I know that October you have a Veterans Day. DBC, hello from South Africa. So very good that you've come to us all the way from South Africa. And Jean Cochran Duffy from British Columbia in Canada. So we are stretching all around the world this morning. Angela Washford-Vella is coming from a favourite place of mine, the Isle of Wight. And I do love the Isle of Wight. And I'm sure that you're all doing your own remembrance there at the Isle of Wight. So nice to hear. And our Margaret Bartley. So it's nice to hear from you, Margaret, and a good morning to you from everyone here. We all send our love to you. We miss seeing you, so hopefully one time when you're well. Jenny Maureen is saying good morning as well. So a good morning to you, Jenny, and I hope that you're enjoying our remembrance service. And Tina, He's saying good morning, everyone. So it's nice you're with us, Tina. And we're going to have a very uplifting service this morning. And I'm going to ask now Phil to come and give us the reading, followed by the address. Natalie, glad that you're watching and glad that you're enjoying our small. We're trying perhaps get some more names later, but hopefully we've covered the majority of names. If we haven't mentioned your name, then you are still part of our congregation, and we are really, truly thankful that you join us. Thank you, and over to Phil.
Thank you again, Jackie. I'd like to read you a poem that until very recently I was completely unfamiliar with. And it is a poem that was written by a Major Malcolm Boyle, who wrote it after D-Day, 6th of June 1944. He was a major in the Green Howards and was killed in action in Normandy on the 16th of June 1944. He wrote the poem and sent it to his great friend, Captain E.B. Cottingham. It is called If I Should Never See the Moon Again. If I should never see the moon again, rising red gold across the harvest fields, or feel the stinging of soft April rain as the brown earth her bidden treasures yield, if I should never taste the salt sea spray as the ship beats her course against the breeze, or smell the dog rose and the new mown hay, or moss and primrose beneath the trees, if I should never hear the thrushes wake long before sunrise in the glimmering dawn, or watch the huge Atlantic rollers break against the rugged cliffs in baffling scorn, if I have said goodbye to stream and wood, to the wide ocean and the green-clad hill, I know that he who made this world so good has somewhere made a heaven better still. This bear I witness with my latest breath, knowing the love of God, I fear no death. When I was invited to take this Remembrance Sunday service, I thought immediately about giving an address relating to remembrance. And I thought, now, how can I make this slightly different, slightly original, and slightly inspirational? So I sat down with my pen and paper and started writing, and thankfully it all came together very, very, very nicely. So I'd now like to share my thoughts with you about Remembrance Sunday. Let us consider the core meaning of Remembrance Sunday and the actual significance of the word itself. The Oxford English Dictionary states, the act of remembering or state of being remembered. So what does to remember actually mean? If we consider that linear time, past, present and future, is only relevant to our material world and has no foundation in reality because it is a man-made concept, then the actual act of remembering applies not only to the past, but can also be experienced in the present as a sequence of events which are interlinked within our conscious mind, but which are being recollected, a semblance of photographic images, we might say, in present time. Therefore, past, as we perceive it, experience and memory, is the process of reassembling, as in the camera analogy, aspects of our conscious reality which we have simultaneously experienced in the present, there being no inherent time factor in universal reality, just as clock time and days of the week, months and years do not exist outside our frame of reference or indeed planet Earth. In a spiritual context, remembrance can also be seen as the practice of remembering God, the creator, giver of our life force. In other words, bringing God back into our conscious mind in the act of reassembling both our conscious recognition of him, but also momentarily readjusting or realigning to our spiritual divinity. So when we remember or think of God in present time, because he, she, it is an ever-present energy force, we are returning home to our true sense of self, in the same way that physical death is a celebration of remembrance and reconnection to our spiritual essence. Through our ability to remember, reconnect, we keep God alive in our hearts, and every mystical path and religious doctrine informs us of the importance of reconnecting with our Creator. Remembrance also means to reflect upon, to ponder or think back, and more importantly, to remember, as in reconnect disparate parts of a present life or incarnation. Shamanic practice philosophy speaks of soul retrieval and reconnecting with parts of our spiritual totality which have become fragmented or dismembered due to traumatic experience or upheavals in past or present incarnations, and which, as some quantum physicists may say, may be getting lived simultaneously on different dimensions or timelines of spiritual experience. Everything, it seems, is either randomly or intrinsically interconnected within our cosmos. Therefore, to feel whole again in the shamanic model necessitates integration of the disparate self, and therefore the act of remembrance, which we celebrate honor today, is a form of renewal, cleansing, and reconfiguring, an opportunity to put our house in order and get our priorities right. This chance is afforded us by those who have gone before us and still hold a torch for us by virtue of their sacrificial and heroic act in times of war and turmoil. They too are in the process of reassembling themselves. In the act of remembrance, we are collectively engaged in recollecting, bringing back into conscious memory those experiences which have made a significant impact on our conscious and unconscious mind. So where does this lead us in terms of why remembering is such an indispensable part of our conscious thinking? The act of memory nurtures, informs, and regenerates our being. It is an indispensable component of the survival mechanism and also serves as a compass with which to navigate our lives. We honor and bestow thanks and gratitude, key components in the act of remembrance, for those beings who have sacrificed their lives in this noble gesture, and we have made a solemn vow: they shall not grow old as we that are left grow old, and we will remember them. This is an affirmation of life eternal, as in the physically, but not spiritually, dead, who now inhabit a life where there is no physical aging. In this way, we are also honoring eternal life and the bountiful replenishment that exists within the spiritual realms by acknowledging the life everlasting. So as we honor our dead, we also honor eternal life as the motivating and self-perpetuating principle at the core of physical spiritual consciousness, the nucleus from which we as spiritualists and many other religions in their own particular way derive a sense of totality. If we also subscribe to the notion of a time to be born and a time to die, we can understand with greater clarity why so many souls have individually and collectively elected to pass into spirit during times of war. Excuse me, I'll just have a drink. And unprecedented upheaval, albeit difficult to comprehend with our conscious mind. You might say it was their time to make their physical transition, excuse me, and that their earthly years have served their purpose in terms of fulfilling certain spiritual karmic obligations. We can only speculate, and if necessary, agree to disagree. But whatever your point of view, the loss is still felt with a pain and desolation which their absence engenders. Excuse me. To summarise the qualities which comprise Remembrance Day: reconnecting with Source, God, as in remembering recollection. Sacrificial love, selflessness, a universal principle which encompasses our lives. Honouring the present, as in a universal celebration of life, by way of salutation and respect. Not just the past, because our loved ones are omnipresent in our hearts and minds. Affirmation, as in affirming the above attributes of sacrifice, heroism, and solidarity. Reflection, as in soul retrieval, bringing the disparate parts of ourselves back into a recognisable and cohesive whole and semblance of self. Therefore, Remembrance Day represents the antithesis, epitome of who we are, and is pivotal to a greater understanding of ourselves as human beings. It is also a conglomerate of our faith, hope, charity, and interconnectedness with each other, regardless of creed, race, or gender, in a quest for the truth that passes all conscious understanding. Thank you.
I'm just going to give Phil a couple of minutes to have a good drink before we will call him up again to demonstrate his mediumship, and just have a few moments to reflect on those words. And I think that is a lovely address. I think that is definitely worth keeping that and printing it and letting people have that on another year, because it encompasses everything that we know as spiritualists, and about time just being, of this world, because we rotate round the sun. So therefore, we have a 24-hour day, and we know they don't have that in the spirit world. So it is just in our material lives, but certainly some food for thought. And I just want to ask you to give Phil all of your love and attention when he comes to you, and to open up the field. Don't necessarily think in a tight box of just close family or somebody that you're after listening to, because we can't always know who it is that will come through, and it may well be someone that you know, but somebody that actually you didn't know as well, but they had fought in the war. We have, over the many years of having Remembrance Service, had many people that have come for this time of year, because they come to us close at this time of year for that act of remembrance and knowing that. And we're getting many people say what a lovely address, Phil. Rose Anderson and Tina and Nolene Parker saying wonderful address, and that is food for thought for people to think of why it's still important for us. Our whole Remembrance Weekend is very important. But, you can tell from how the news has been playing the last few days that it is very, very special to people. And if anyone dare disrupt it in any way, shape or form, that, they'll be up against an army of people, whether they're children or pensioners, that will say that this is something that we have done for over 100 years now, and is very important to know when people have given of their life as young people, whether it was their intention to just come down for that length of period of time, it was still their dedication, their sacrifice, to be able to stand up for evil. And we have to stand up for evil in this world. We have to make sure that the light is the winner, that we have to think of the light. We have to have that upliftment. We have to have that energy. Light is so much stronger than dark. We have to just keep ourselves in the light and make sure that we try to keep this world in the light, because it is so important for us. We have that spiritual responsibility once we have that spiritual knowledge. So I'm hoping that Phil is now recovered enough to give us his demonstration of mediumship. So please give your love, and if you have loved ones come, I feel as though they're coming to the threshold, and you wouldn't just, say hello with a you've got to give that love, that energy, so that they can feel it. It's more important because you can't physically see them. Phil is seeing them for you. But give that love just in your voice. It is very important. Thank you. Over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Jackie. I don't know whether somebody wants to hand the mic round, as and when people.
Right, okay.
I'll just give it to you for a moment.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. And it's nice to be back again. Please excuse my cough, which I've been trying to rid myself of for the last few days, but it's sticking around a bit longer than I had expected. So I usually know exactly who I'm coming to, and Spirit direct me to that particular person. So please, can I hear your voice loud and clear, because we are talking about the absolutely essential energy that Spirit used to communicate their messages of love and reassurance and upliftment. So I'd like to come first of all, please, to, I believe it's Alistair, gentleman over there. Thank you, Alistair. It's good to see you here this morning. I've got a very strong connection with your father here.
Oh, yes.
Yes, in spirit. Because your father talks about his passing, and he says that it was for him quite a gradual process,
Yes.
of disassociating from physical life. And he said he had pondered about the idea of a life after physical death, but it wasn't something that completely occupied his mind. Although he did question, and he says, I was a questioner in life.
Maybe. Yeah.
He did ask questions of people, because he said, I needed to know things that I didn't personally understand. All right? He's talking about pains in the head area before he passed as well, as though there was a lot of confusion in his mind. No? Because he talks about this sort of mist, or this fog that he had before he passed from the physical life into spirit. He just wants to mention that. He also talks about his garden, all right?
Yeah.
And the importance of his garden to him.
Oh,
Yes?
yeah.
Yes, good. And he also talks about petunias for some reason, petunias being relevant to a person in the family that either loves and enjoys flowers, or the petunia and the colour of the petunia is in some way relevant to them.
When we used to go, I'm not in a car, you used to sing a song.
You used to sing a song?
Yeah.
What about petunias?
Lonely petunia into it.
Well, this is why he's mentioning petunia. All right. He's also talking about, I don't know whether it's very unusual for a man to bake his own bread, but he is talking about fresh bread, as in, I liked fresh produce.
Yeah, he was a chef.
He was a chef, right, okay. Because he does talk about the baking of the bread and getting all the ingredients right for a particular dish or a particular product. So he's very specific and meticulous about that. And he uses this as an analogy to talk to you about in your life having to have got all the ingredients right, metaphorically speaking. Because he said, you're very aware at any particular time that you've got a little bit more of this and less of that, and a little bit more of that and a little bit less of this. So he said, you're constantly weighing up opportunities and situations that you feel are going to be not only beneficial to yourself, but also to your family and your immediate friends.
Okay.
So you're a gentleman who likes to get the balance right in his life.
I hope so.
Well, that's what he's telling me. And I don't know whether you're a Libran astrologically, but that's synonymous with Libra as a astrological sign. It's balancing and maintaining harmony. Good. He also talks about the fact that, yes, I will. When you were younger, there was let's call it sort of several differences of opinion with your mother.
Yes, yes.
And he talks about the fact that your mother is more understanding now in spirit of what it was that she, in her own words, lacking in terms of what you needed personally.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Yes. And so she apologizes. She says that she has a much broader and much more comprehensive understanding of the process through which you both needed to move, but which at that time she felt she was lacking in some way.
Okay.
And she wants to make up for that particular. Your father's also bringing a lady through. He doesn't give me her name, but he's talking about her rosary, which is synonymous with the Catholic faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you recognise this person?
Well, I'm not really, well, yeah, maybe I can.
Maybe you can.
Yeah.
I'm not very keen on maybes, but let's see where we go with this. And this lady was a very humble individual. She was somebody that would have had a very selfless attitude to life. She would have gone here, there and everywhere and done whatever she could to help other people.
Yeah.
Yes. And for some reason, he's bringing her because she doesn't actually want to speak herself. So he's speaking for her and saying she's very grateful for what you were able to give to her, but more importantly, the way in which you were able to encourage her.
I see. Yeah.
You understand that? Good. And she thanks you like that. Without speaking, she thanks you. All right. All right. Just before I leave you, Alistair, many, many years ago, you sort of dipped in a little bit into some form of Buddhism or meditation.
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Because I'm getting the feeling of a monk, a Tibetan monk, who may or may not be a guide of yours, but he is talking about this need you have to calm, particularly in the last 4 months, he says. 4 months is very important, that we go back 4 months, because at that point there was a bit of a hiatus, and he says you needed to ground and you needed to just compose yourself.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So that's really reference to the Buddhism, and whether or not you dipped into it previously, it's something that you could look into and investigate and possibly benefit from.
Okay.
So thank you very much for working with me. And right. Can I come to Dawn, please? Now, I do know Dawn, but I don't know hardly anything about her personal life at all. But there's a gentleman here, Dawn, who comes not as a family member, but as a friend. A very large gentleman of your particular colour and race. And I would put him probably at 6'2" or 6'3", and very well built.
Right.
All right. He's impressing upon me that he was not necessarily a religious man in the conventional sense of the word, but he was very interested in all forms of spirituality. So he comes. Please say something.
I'm not sure about him as a friend.
No.
But I could know who the person is.
Yes. When I say friend, I'm meaning more in the sense of when we talk about, thank you very much for coming today, my friend. You are, well,
Okay.
without meaning, we are
Right.
almost like blood brother friends. So this is the gentleman. And he loved travel, because he said that his involvement with many different forms of, again, he says spirituality rather than religion, spirituality, were quite widespread. And he said he's somebody that would have inspired not only yourself in terms of seeing him work or talk or behave with people.
I understand it in a different way. This would be my father.
Okay, because he didn't give me a father.
I wouldn't know them in any other way.
Okay.
But his conduct and character.
That's quite interesting, because if we say therefore that this is father and his reference to friend, it seems as if, not that I'm saying he would have called you friend, but that he would have seen you as a friend as well as a daughter.
I do understand that.
You do understand that. Good. All right. He just quickly flipped over to your son here, and what's your son's name? Ben. Because he says there's been a little bit of concern around Ben's health.
His other brother's health.
His other brother's health.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
You have 3 children, don't you?
Yes,
3 boys.
3 boys.
Right. Because
His twin
Ben
brother.
has a very, very strong link with the brother that you're saying
Yes.
has not been
Yeah,
too well.
Yeah,
Those 2 are really like that. And the other boy, although he's part of the team,
I understand.
is a different equation.
Yes.
Yes. So back to your father. And there's a great sense of humbleness with your father.
Yes.
And a great sense of also incredibly astute about saying the right words and the right phrases at the right time.
Yes.
when he knew that that was the moment to speak to somebody or suggest something to somebody. He's also talking about the month of May, and he's talking about early May.
May is their birthday.
Right, because I want to go around the 3rd or the 4th.
A few days later. But
A few days later, because I'm definitely around the 3rd or the 4th. Okay. 2 years, I want to go back. Ben's birthday is in May, yes?
Yes.
Right. I want to go back 2 years, because he's talking about Ben's birthday 2 years ago, when something, you had either planned to do something and it didn't quite go according to how you wanted it to go.
Not sure, I'll have to
think about that. 2 years ago.
Yeah,
He's very specific about the 2 years. He's also talking about your increasing interest in crystal energy.
Yes.
And he's also talking about the opal stone.
The opal.
Opal.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, I do.
Good, good. He's also referencing your neck and the fact that there have been problems around the upper neck and the upper back.
Yeah, that's correct.
And he's suggesting that perhaps something in the form of chiropractic or that particular practice might be beneficial. So this is not a prescription,
No,
it's just a, okay, good. He also talks about your, his sister,
Okay.
yeah, in spirit,
Yes.
yeah, because he talks about his sister having done a lot more research.
Oh, right. I never knew her.
Okay. She was apparently somebody that was very avidly into books and looking at facts and figures and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he says that she's still researching. Because either you or a member of your family has started to think about looking at the ancestry.
That's yeah, I have to understand where that comes from.
You get it?
Yes.
Right, okay. Because he said pursue that because there are untold surprises within that pursuit.
Yes.
All right? Okay, good. Picking up the pieces where you left. He finishes by saying, I want you to go back 6 years in Earth time, and at that point, an opportunity of learning and opening up your work opportunity presented itself,
Yes.
and you didn't at that point jump.
Yeah.
But he said, now is the time to really galvanize your strength. And he's not saying you're going to go for the same particular thing, but that you're going to do something very similar, which is going to fulfill a part of you which needs fulfilling, and you know it needs fulfilling, and as yet that gap is still where it was 6 years ago. You understand that? Good. Drink more water.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, Dawn.
Bless you.
I'll try and come to somebody online here now. I want a lady online whose father recently passed into spirit. I don't want to go back more than 5 or 6 months here. And this gentleman had a very great fear and trepidation about crossing into the next world. He wasn't completely atheist in that he thought this was the be-all and the end-all, but he was very, very concerned, about how his daughter would survive without him being still physically here. And he was also concerned about various family business that was unfinished and which should be tied up and completed. He's telling me about his limbs and how his limbs became very, very weak, how he found it very difficult to get out of the chair, how eventually he needed to be lifted and helped from his bed to and from. And he's also very concerned about the fact that his daughter understands that when he was shortly before passing, he was trying to get words out from his mouth that he couldn't actually piece together in a coherent sentence. So there is a lady online, and if hopefully, Richard, we will have somebody that recognises this gentleman. He was still fairly young looking when he passed. He was probably at the age of, I would say, late 60s, 70s, but he still probably looked about early 60s. So, and quite thin, slim, probably about 5'7", 5'8". And he's also talking to me about the town of Norwich in England, and he had some form of connection to Norwich. He also talks about friend or friends that he had in the West Country. So I'm hoping that somebody online can understand this information about this gentleman, but it is important, he says, that he gets through to his daughter to reassure her, nothing yet, okay, Richard, to reassure her that everything is fine with him since his passing. And I have a lady called Noeline Parker who says this sounds like. So I'm wondering if this sounds like your father, Noeline, if you can just get back to me on this, please. He's also talking about having been to or been taken to chapel or, well, church, but he's referring to as chapel when he was younger, and being a bit of a rebellious spirit and saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, why should I always have to go with my parents to these places or this chapel? And you're talking about your brother, Noeline. So you recognise this information I'm giving to you as your brother. If you could just confirm, please, that all this information I'm giving you is correct, and anything that you don't understand. And then I will lead straight into the message for you. Okay, so, right, your brother. Your brother talks, Noeline, of the fact that there was a separation of some kind from him and your father, because it seems as if your brother tried to help father, but that the help wasn't always accepted in the way that it was offered. And in this way, there was a rift. Yes, you're saying yes to this. Thank you. You're saying I'm saying there was a rift of some kind. And your brother needs to be very certain that you understand that now that rift has been healed, and that there is no confusion anymore around what your brother felt for your father and what your father felt but didn't fully understand about your brother, if this is making sense. I'm sorry this is quite involved, but I think you're getting the message, Noeline. So that's really the crux of the message that your brother has. Your brother was born 3 months after your father died. Okay, right, okay. So there seems to be some discrepancy here between your brother or your brother's attitude to your father, because you're telling me that your father died 3 months after he was born. But there still seems to be some connection between that your brother never actually kind of quite came to terms with the fact that father had died or left, and that he felt there needed to be not a replacement, but some form of substitute for the fact that he wasn't privy to a role model in the sense of having an earthly father, if you can understand that, because I want to get this absolutely right. And it's something that your brother has never really quite got over, but you have helped your brother quite a lot over the years through different struggles that he has had, both physically and emotionally. And that's important to stress as well, the fact that your help for your brother has never gone unrecognized, although it may have done in a physical sense, but certainly not in a spiritual sense, because spirit are applauding what you have actually done. And I'm getting a feeling of, not a feeling, I'm being told about a daughter here who went slightly askew on her path of direction and has come back towards a much more constructive way of thinking, which has certainly benefited her a great deal. And Noeline's saying exactly, thank you. And this coming back to a clearer sense of who she is and what she actually has decided she wants to achieve or get from this life is much clearer to her, and is causing you much less frustration and worry and anxiety. So that is the message that I'm wanting to convey to you, Nolene, today, and extrapolating this information about your father and your brother. And I hope that's become a lot clearer also for the message regarding your daughter. So I was his true supporter. All right, Nolene, that's referring to your brother, so that's very, very good. And you're saying she certainly did. Well, I'm pleased to see that she has come back to a greater focus, and thank you very much for working with me, Nolene. Good. May I come to Cherie, please? Thank you. Cherie is one of our church members. I know Cherie, but not hardly anything about her family life. So I have your mother here, Cherie. All right. Because she said, she just made me laugh. She said, well, it's about time that I came and said something.
All right.
I'm missing out the all-important word. It's about time I came. So here she is. And she's saying, at last you've galvanized yourself into a sense of, let's go and do what I know needs to be done.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, well, it took you long enough, didn't it? So good. She's got that message across. She wants you to know, February. She's thinking, or she will be thinking, about the anniversary of a passing in February, next February. No?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is what she's referring to, a passing.
Birthday, but not a passing.
Her birthday.
Yeah, but not a passing.
Right, okay, her birthday. You said passing. Right, okay, passing. She says that she was actually, oh, that's interesting. She said, I was actually passing, part of me was passing into spirit quite a while before I actually passed physically.
Right.
Would you understand that? In other words, her mind, or part of her consciousness, was going backwards and forwards into spirit. And she talks about meeting Leslie over this side. Leslie, female, Leslie. Friend.
Or might have been where she lived.
Yeah. She also talks about Battersea.
Yes, her sister lived there.
And she talks about, this is strange, she talks about wood shavings. She's going back in time a bit, but she was either around somebody that would have made something with wood, or that she would have done, I don't know, I can't imagine a lady necessarily doing this, but she talks of the wood shavings. What does that mean? Right, lathe. You knew a gentleman, not in the family, that worked on a lathe, or did something to do with creating woodwork. Wood.
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Right. Does he connect with this lady called Leslie?
Don't know.
You don't know that, but you know the gentleman?
Yeah.
Right. Because she said she met him over here.
Oh, no.
No?
No.
That's what she's telling me.
Her husband, my dad, used to have lathes,
Mhm.
metal work, not wood.
Okay, but your dad's in spirit.
Yes.
Right. So, well, they were obviously met or meeting. Right, that's what she meant.
All right.
She met your dad, because it's not always an assumption, automatic assumption, that husbands and wives meet when they get to spirit. Sometimes they don't see each other for a while. Other times they're, soulmates, so they meet immediately.
Yeah, that one then.
But anyway, she's talking about the lathe and the wood shavings.
Right.
Because she said when you were much younger, you wanted to be very creative.
Yeah.
And you didn't kind of fulfill that. Not in ways that necessarily you're still thinking, I could do more of that or more of that, and bring out more of this creativity. Do you understand?
Kind of, because I'm very creative.
Okay. Well, again, she's saying the opportunity is there and the time is right. Okay. She's talking about 7-8 years ago, there was the birth of a baby boy. 7-8 years ago, the birth of a baby boy. from a lady that you would have known, not in the family, but a lady that was going through a lot of mental health issues. And she didn't actually know whether she would come to full term with this baby, but the baby was born. And it helped this particular person become much more of a complete individual. All right, okay, just remember that, please. And you know somebody called Sharon in the physical world? Sharon?
No.
Sharon.
I probably do, but not a close friend.
Right, right. Okay, just before I leave you, the Spirit are telling me that you are talking to people, certain people in your family, a lot more than you did, because you feel it's time to express your own thoughts about things that happened way back, which haven't been fully discussed.
No.
So you're sharing more of your thoughts. No?
No.
Right, that's what they tell me. So,
Sorry.
okay, right. Pen, paper, pen, paper, pen, paper. They keep on saying pen, paper, pen, paper. So it's about, again, this creativity, writing in particular.
Okay.
Writing in particular. Just part of something that they think you would benefit from doing at this particular time.
Will do.
Yes, okay. And somebody, I don't know who it is, somebody's just calling out to you, Scotch mist. Do you understand?
Not quite, but I know of it.
And they said that you would know who that person was. Scotch mist. Right. Okay, bag. Put everything in the bag, make sure it's all packed and ready to go, and then you will be much more confident about how to move forward.
Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who said that, but somebody just shouted that out at the top of their voice. So I'll leave all their love with you, Shireen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nolene Parker is saying she is coming to Australia for his funeral next week. So I imagine you're referring to your daughter, Nolene. So thank you very much for that message. How are we doing for time, Jackie?
We've run out of time.
We've run out of time. Sorry, I'm being told we've run out of time, but it's a great privilege as always to be able to give messages from our loved ones. And thank you all so much in the church and online for being with us on this very special Remembrance Sunday. Goodbye.
Okay, so you'll all join me in thanking Phil for a lovely morning and some lovely messages there for people, and we've wished Lonnie in Australia well for next week's funeral. So I do believe this has been a very special feeling to today's remembrance service. Please join us outside for a tea and refreshments. And it just is for me to, wish you all a good week. Blessings on your home and the rest of Remembrance Service Day. We've got some notices that I'm going to ask Phil to read. So he's going to come back to read our notices of what's happening in the next few days here at Wimbledon, and also our sister church at Hackbridge has a couple of events on for November. So we're hoping to get a few different things on for Hackbridge. And there may even be a pop-up. I know Claire's trying to possibly get a pop-up for, in the next few weeks. But I'm not sure if we've got a date for that yet. And I would like to also then ask, not only with the notices, if Phil will then close our special remembrance service in prayer as we think of those that are in grief, those that are in war-torn countries, and send that peace up. I thank Les for that healing meditation and that sending that love up to the universe, to our world. It's very important that we do so. If we can keep positive and keep that love going, it makes a big difference to the energy that's in this world. So thank you very much for being part of our service today, and back to Phil.
Thank you again, Jackie. This is getting like musical chairs here, musical standing. So I'm going to read you the forthcoming events for November. Next week's medium is still to be confirmed, so if you refer to our Facebook page in due course, you will discover who that is going to be. Please note our healing clinic, Animals Included, is every Tuesday, 7 till 8:15, and Thursday, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, for members of the community and animals. You will be greeted by our healer practitioners in a safe, friendly, and welcoming atmosphere. Free will donations apply. New events for autumn. Our Friendship Club is held every Wednesday from 11:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. in church and 11:30 till 1 on Zoom. Please note that some Wednesdays will not be on Zoom, so please check weekly postings on the Facebook page or WSC group page. On November the 17th at 7 p.m. at Hackbridge Church, we have a demonstration of mediumship with Michelle Dearlove Scott, and that starts at 7 p.m. The admission is £5. On November the 26th at 7 p.m. at Wimbledon, we have a demonstration of mediumship with Ivan Lee. Advanced booking link is to follow on our Facebook pages shortly. And again, that is £5 admission, 7 o'clock start. On November the 30th at 7 p.m, again at Hackbridge, a demonstration of mediumship with Ashley Robinson and Sarah Warman. And the advanced booking link will follow shortly. Parking is available opposite Wimbledon Spiritualist Church on 2 metres if they are available, or in Hartfield Road next to Morrison's supermarket. Now I'd like to close the service in prayer, so please join me. This is a Native American Indian blessing. Teach me how to trust my heart, my mind, my intuition, my inner knowing, the senses of my body, the blessings of my spirit. Teach me to trust these things so that I may enter my sacred space and love beyond my fear, and thus walk in balance with the passing of each glorious sun. Thank you.
I'll say once again, blessings for you all. It's nice. Jilly is thanking us for a lovely, peaceful remembrance service. So it's nice to know that you're part of the service, or have been this morning, Jilly, and for all of those that have taken part. And Rebecca has got blessings from Puerto Rico. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So obviously, I'm very pleased to be part of this morning's service. And, until we see you next week, we've lots coming on. Well, Helen Wood, he's had a lovely service as well. And we have to remind ourselves that this church is absolutely packed with everyone that's come, online for us. And Natalie saying thank you all for a lovely remembrance service. So that is, it's special. And we've always tried to make a remembrance here special. So take care, God bless you, and hopefully see all of you that are physically here for refreshments outside. And if anyone online is free next Sunday morning before our church service, I need to strip the altar down of all the remembrancings and put our Christmas decorations up. I used to be able to just do it by myself, but as I'm getting older and not so mobile, then it takes me longer to do things. It took me over 2 hours to do the display on here. So if I have many hands, then we can all put different wreaths up and things. So that we need at this time to bring upliftment to us. in the dark times, it's important to have all the lights that we can. Oh, Pauline Walsh is with us as well. Lovely service. Nice to know you're part of the service as well. Thank you, Pauline. So, and as I say, all hands to the deck if you can manage. I'm going to be here for about 8 o'clock next Sunday morning, but if anyone can come that half an hour early to be able to help us before the church service, then that will be wonderful. Okay, so God bless you all, and thanks Richard again for putting this on. Because without you, we wouldn't be able to stream to all the people that are out there all over the world. So thank you again, Richard. So goodbye from us all at Wimbledon. All our love to you all. Take care.